Hey guys, Yips here, coming with another video, and this one is going to be about Coven on Mythic difficulty. This will also help you out if you're struggling on Heroic in terms of DPS, so yeah, this is going to be a great video. So, before I pop into the video, I want to talk about positioning first, just because where you position on this boss fight actually does have an extreme factor on how much damage you're going to be dealing. The boss video goes by so quickly and there's so much going on and so much that I have to cover. I feel like if I cover positioning beforehand and then go into the kill video and talk about it, it will just make more sense and kind of click a little bit better for you guys. So here we have the boss room. We have the two bosses denoted with the X marker down here. And you're going to have 4 different types of ads spawning throughout the room. So you're going to have the fire, the arcane, the lightning, and the healing ads. The fire ads are going to be spawning here, 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 and here. So you're going to have 8 ads in total spawn around the room, and they're going to create pie sections from their fire beams. They're going to shoot out fire beams that are going to mark unsafe locations, and they're going to create these little wedges that are going to be safe spots for you to stand on. Now, where I like to go is in these wedges, and I'm going to talk about why they're the best wedges. This one here, and this one here. Now, the reason that those 2 wedges are the best is because it gives you the most access to the most amount of ranged fire ads in the room, as well as it allows you to DPS the boss at the same time. So if you're a little warlock making your way about the world, and the fire ads are about to spawn and you're standing here, wiggle your way back here, wiggle your way over there, find a safe spot for the storm, and then dot all of these ads here, okay? If you're standing in the bottom section, you'll be able to dot this ad here. If you're standing in the top section, you'll be able to dot this ad here, okay? So you're going to have access to 6 out of the 8 ads total, and generally speaking, this one dies extremely quickly because of the melee. So you want to be standing in one of these locations. It gives you access to both of the bosses as well as the most ads possible. After this phase, you're going to have the spectral phase, the spectral army, and what you're going to be wanting to do is standing in the corner close to the boss. The reason being this gives you a lot of access to dotting the boss and not having to worry about your range, and it lets you get into a safe location. So stand in one of these corners here and banish the ads closest to you. This just gives you a little bit of a safe point to stand into and let you have a little bit of free reign to DPS in this phase. The next phase is the lightning ads that spawn in these locations in the room, and where you're going to be wanting standing is smack dab in the middle. You're the best DPS in the raid group. Stand in the middle. Get the most out of it. You're going to be able to dot all 4 of these ads if you're standing in the middle. If you're not, you will not be able to dot all 4 of them, and you're going to have to move around, which is extremely annoying in this phase because if you touch butts with someone else, you die. After this, you have the lightning ads. They're going to be spawning here, 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 and here. Just make sure you're generally centralized. Not too big of a deal. So those are the positioning on the boss fight. I know I went really quickly, but honestly, setting yourself in a good position to do DPS is the key for success on this boss fight. Rotation is so easy. It's entirely secondary as long as you're good at maintaining dots. It's important just to stand in the right spots, okay? So now let's go over the kill. Let's talk about how you should be playing against Coven. So the talents you'll be using is Writhe and Agony, Absolute Corruption, Soul Harvest, and the Execute talent. The way you're going to be doing damage is fairly easy. You just have to maintain 2 agonies and cast 1 UA every 7 seconds. That's it. That's your entire boss damage rotation. I know that sounds too good to be true, but that's really the rotation. It does get more complicated, obviously, because there are ads spawning, and you have a lot of shard influx, which lets you do even more damage because you're casting more UAs. But the general idea is you're just maintaining your 2 agonies and casting 1 UA every second or 7 seconds to maintain that 4-set 15% damage proc. Obviously, you want to dump your excess UAs with Reap or with your Soul Harvest. Those are just kind of 2 basic Warlock tips when you're playing Absolute Corruption. But throughout this boss fight, that's kind of the theme on boss damage. But when the ads spawn, that's when things kind of get a little bit crazy. So let's see if we can just move a little bit forward here to get into the boss video. I think we're about to pull. I know we're about to pull here. Here we go. Let's move back just a tad. Just a tad. I'm trying to get it just on the right time so we can talk about the opener. All right, here's the pull. So on pull, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be agonying both of the bosses, casting your permanent corruptions, pressing Soul Harvest because you want to get it on cooldown, and then spamming all of your UAs with Reap. do not save your UAs, just spam them all. Not a big deal, okay? So you'll see here, I'll do Agony, Agony, Corruption, Corruption. It's kind of important. Well, here I do Agony, Corruption. Doesn't matter too much. Pop my Soul Harvest after I cast my first UA with my Reap, and I just go as wild as I can in the opener. It is important in downtime and down phases to get Drain Soul ticks off. This allows your Ren Soul to proc and to give you a little bit of extra Reap. Plus Drain Soul is actually really good damage, so don't feel like you have to spam your dots. Get Drain Soul channel time in, it is really good. So yeah, I'm just maintaining my 2 Agonies, casting that 1 Unstable Affliction, and maintaining that 15% damage modifier, okay? So the first ads, like I said, that you're going to have are the fire ones. At some point during the start of the boss fight, you're going to want to cut out your Reap usage. The reason being is you want to have Reap available for the fire ads. It's not too big of a deal, but when the fire ads do spawn, there's just so many of them. There's tons of fire ads spawning around the room, and the more targets you have to dot, you want Reap for them because, you know, the more damage you can do to multiple targets, right? There's just more potential for DPS. So may as well save that mini cooldown for those ads. So you see here, I have some Reap building up. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to save it for when those fire ads spawn. It's also important to be low on soul shards whenever an ad phase is coming. So here I have 5 stacks of Reap. This is the Reap that I will use for the fire ads, and you can see I'm already in a good position to deal damage to the fire ads. There, I get my crit proc, I pop my Reap, and now we have fire ads spawning. The way you're going to be dealing damage to the fire ads is you're going to refresh both of your Agonies on the boss before the fire ads spawn, and then you're going to Corruption as many of the fire ads as you can, followed by Agonying the ones that you corrupted, and then you want to cast UAs on the boss to proc that 4 set. So I go Corruption as many times as I can for the ads that are in range, then I cast UA to proc the 4 set, I refresh all of my Agonies, cast a UA again to proc the 4 set, and then by then the ads are usually dead. If none of them are dead, I tend to try to finish them off just by channeling UA on them, and then I get back on the boss and just, you know, go about the damage rotation again. Gonna go over that again really quickly just because it is super important about how you deal damage during that phase. So let's just skip ahead a little bit here, or skip back to the fire ads. Right, a little bit further back. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. A little bit more. Okay, here we go. So Corruption, 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 Corruption. And then do Agony, 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 Agony. Cast UA on the boss, refresh my UA Agonies on the boss, and then I refresh my Agonies on all of the ads, okay? That's how you want to be doing your damage to the fire ads. Very important, but again, this is going to lead to the highest output potential on these ads. And the reason you're corruptioning first is because since it takes such a long time for your Agony to stack, if these ads, you know, if someone was to focus one of them down quickly, you want your hardest hitting dot on the boss or on the target for as long as possible, which is actually your corruption because your Agony has such a long ramp time. After those ads, you're going to be getting the Spectral Army spawning, and as you can see here, I'm already positioned in the top right of the room. It's left on this side of the screen that you're facing now though. So I banish my ad, I get safe, and what I do is I cast like 6 Agonies on the ads. The reason being is not only will this give me Reap and Wrath of Consumption later, it also lets me get a 36-second duration Soul Harvest, which then I can use to pump into the boss. After which, I kind of go around the room and I dot the central density ads in order to happen so when they die, I get that Soul Flame, I get that Wrath of Consumption, I get that Reap. Now, one thing that I do on this boss is I re-banish my ad, and I don't do it for fun, I do it to refresh my Wrath of Consumption. So by banishing that ad, it allows nobody in the room to kill it, and then when I unbanish it and kill it, it refreshed my Wrath of Consumption to the 20-second duration, okay? Really, really important that you do that if you're an advanced Warlock. If you're not an advanced Warlock, don't worry about it. It might be a bit much for you to handle because there's so much going on. Now, we are going to have the lightning ads spawning, okay? You want to position yourself in the middle of the room, and you can see here, I did not do that so well. Sometimes it just happens that someone else wants to take your Juju, and you can't fuck with that, because if you move towards them, you will die. So I kind of give up dotting the top ad, not because I am not a greedy bastard and don't want to do as much damage as I can, but it's less important that I dot that ad than I kill somebody else. I would like to be positioned in the middle there, but unfortunately someone else had that spot, and I just didn't feel comfortable enough to moving there. But again, the damage rotation there is just get all of your corruptions out, get your agonies out, and then proc that 4-piece. It's the same theme on every ad. You see, I go corruption, 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 agony, 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 proc the 4-piece, cast a bunch of UAs, refresh the agonies. You just want to be doing that constantly, constantly, constantly. That's how you're doing damage to the ads, okay? So we have the Bloodlust happening here with the healing ads. Obviously, this is all going to happen again because the boss fight does repeat. You can just see that I get my agonies out as quickly as I can on all of the new targets, including the new boss, as well as just maintaining my 15 stacks as often as I can. After the first set of ads, you pretty much have 100% reap-up time, so just make sure you're constantly pressing it to keep that up. But again, fire ads spawning. Look where I'm standing. Again, right in that quadrant every time. I'm super consistent about my positioning. I'm setting myself up for success. So again, the rotation is the exact same. Toss out all of my corruptions. Toss out all of my agonies. Proc the 4-piece. Refresh the agonies. Proc the 4-piece. Refresh the agonies. Proc the 4-piece. And that's how you're going to be doing damage every single time. You see, sometimes I get a little bit greedy. I do move up into the flame beam because I'm trying to be, a good warlock and doing as much pad DPS as I can, but at the same time, I'm a warlock. I can eat some extra mechanics every now and again, and so now we're gonna have the Norganon ads again happening. So, casting my excess UAs, I use Soul Harvest there with the fire ads. That is when it comes back up, is in that fire ad phase. And I'm just getting as much damage as I can on the boss. You are in execute now, so it is important that you toss all of your unstable afflictions into the boss, as they will be doing bonus damage. But again, banish that ad in the top corner. That's going to be your Wrath of Consumption for later on during the boss fight. And again, I'm just dotting the central density, making sure that when these ads die, I'm going to have a 5 stack of Wrath of Consumption as well as the Reap stacks. Make sure you're doing that. Very, very important to get those. And then after this, you're going to have the lightning ads again. I'm going to try my best to get into the middle of the room for the lightning ads. I'm not too worried about it though. If I don't do as much to them as I can, not a big deal because the boss is going to die while they're still alive. So you see there, do the good things. I banish the ad again. I'm going to unbanish it here before the next ad set spawns. I'm going to get my Wrath of Consumption here. Going to refresh that. Boom, get that 5 stack again. And we have the lightning ads. So I'm going to be doing my best job here to dot as many of them as I can. Again, ignoring that top one, simply because I know that if I move across the room, I am probably going to die if I do that. A lot of the DPS like to take up the middle of the room, and I'm not too concerned about it. I know that even if I just maintain my dots on these targets, I'm going to do great DPS, okay? So that's the boss fight. It's pretty fun to do as an Affliction Warlock. It is really enjoyable to play against. Just practice, practice, practice. The main things you want to be doing is make sure you get that Corruption everything, Agony everything, pop the 4-piece, Corruption everything, Agony everything, proc the 4-piece, spend your extra UAs once you have that bonus timer agony up, and then just kill the boss. Just get that Juju DPS. You are a warlock. You are lay powerful, lay strong. This is your boss fight. Fucking get it. So hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully this helped you out to learn how to DPS on this boss fight. Feel free to go back and check any of the phases again if you need some help on how to do it. Every week I'm doing better and better on this fight. It's just a process of practicing. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you guys in my other videos, and yeah, hope you guys like it. See y'all later. Have a good one.